another beautiful day. What a beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. Happy Easter, guys. Happy Easter. What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. So I've learned a few things over the past couple of years owning BMWs, 3 BMWs to be exact, and I feel like I would just talk to you guys about everything that I've learned with owning BMWs and being involved in the BMW community. So that's exactly what this video is today. I hope you enjoy it. Valves are closed. Got a 2 Series drop top vert behind me. I think he wants the smoke, but if I open the valves this early in the morning, he might shit his pants. Let's open the valves up. What's up, dude? Good looking color. I like that color, man.
Yeah, I like yours.
Thank you. It's a 17.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
How do you like the convertible?
It's really fun. I wasn't originally going to get it, but they didn't have an allocation for the coupe.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, fine, I'll take the convertible, but it's fun.
Oh, you did just get it?
Yeah, it's like a week old.
Awesome. Congrats, man. He's a nice guy. He just got his Long Beach blue vert drop top. Thing was clean, man. M240. Okay. Fellow BMW enthusiast. Should have asked him. What have you learned about owning BMWs? Anyways, you guys, yes, that is what today's video is about. We're gonna be talking a little bit about owning BMWs and kind of like everything that I've learned in the past few years of just being involved in the BMW community and building up BMWs and working on BMWs and owning BMWs, and I felt like there was maybe some value or knowledge that I could drop on you guys. So I'm gonna grab the coffee, head to the spot, do the video. You guys know how it goes. Mood, bruh. The coffee has been acquired. We open those valves up. We start making videos. Please don't scrape, please don't scrape, please don't scrape. Oh. Yes, sir. The lip lives another day, folks. The digital race display wheel so bad. Oh man, I think I'm gonna have to pull the trigger on it. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's like almost $2 grand, but it's just so sexy. I need that wheel in my life. My new diffuser comes this week. Oh, it's got the rain light on it. It's gonna be dope. I haven't seen any installs on the rain light diffuser, so it should be fun. A little bit different. You can wire it a couple of different ways. You can do it to like your DRL so it always stays on, or like only your brake lights, which is probably what I'm gonna do. Them reflections though. Y'all check out the whip and the reflections? Y'all do that? You guys know you do that. You know you do that, don't lie. Everyone checks their car out in the reflections. If you don't, you bought the wrong car. I mean, right? If you don't look at your car in the reflections, dude, you better return that. I don't even think the mic can pick that up. It's so loud. What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today I am talking about the 5 things that I've learned from owning 3 BMWs over the past few years of my life, and just the general knowledge that I've built personally over the past few years owning these cars that have so many different weird stereotypes and generalizations when it comes to maintenance and reliability. I felt like now that I've had my time with some of these cars, I could kind of share my experience with you guys, and maybe you can find some value out of this. Hopefully, if you do, hit the like button. All right, so the first thing that I'm gonna talk to you guys about is the preventative maintenance that comes along with owning a BMW. I'm sure you guys have heard this before out there when people talk about how BMWs are very unreliable and just super expensive to maintain. They're definitely not cheap to maintain. BMWs in general are just a bit more expensive to maintain, but they are a nicer car. You're buying a luxury vehicle. That's kind of what you're signing up for when you do buy a BMW. But it is not as expensive as some people say it is. In my experience over the past few years owning 3 different BMWs, preventative maintenance really is everything when it comes to the longevity of your car and just how well that car holds up over time. And yes, this is a pretty obvious one. Preventative maintenance, I've talked about it before, but really you guys, it's that simple. If you just take care of the car and you know what to look out for, and you don't beat the living heck out of it all the time, your car is going to last you a lot longer than you might think. The people who mostly have issues with these cars are generally the ones who do not do the preventative maintenance ahead of time before problems arise. And then of course they complain about how expensive the car is and all these parts and it keeps breaking down, and really what it comes down to is nipping it in the butt before it happens. What does that mean? Educate yourself. Go onto the forums and figure out what you need to look out for. Figure out which engines are more reliable than others. As you guys know, I had the E90 M3 and that car took a lot of preventative maintenance. I did all the preventative maintenance and then I sold it. So the guy who has the car now is set. He doesn't have to do anything, just routine oil changes and like spark plugs and he'll be good. But that is a perfect example of taking care of a car and just making sure that you know what to do. Like let's say you have an S55, the crank hub issue, that's something that you want to address. With the S65, the rod bearings, that's something that you want to address. The N55, there are some things with this engine too that I will have to address. But for the most part, this engine's solid. The N55B is a good engine. And the reason I can say that is because I've done my research, and that kind of leads me into my second point. Utilize the forums. The forums are so helpful, and they're just a wealth of knowledge, man. There's so many people on there. There's even BMW Master Techs that are on the forums. So many people and so many resources on there to help you understand your car a little more, help you understand what you need to look out for, and just kind of help you understand what you bought. In my opinion, if you are looking into buying a BMW, I would start on the forums. Bimmercode is probably one of the best places to do that. Before I bought my M2, I hopped on Bimmercode and I was just religiously surfing through that forum. Just looking these cars up and kind of understanding what the motor is about and what other people had for common issues. And then also YouTube, obviously. YouTube is a great place for you guys to learn about your cars and figure out more about your BMW M2s if you're buying an M2 or whatever your next BMW is. Maybe it's an F30. But I did a ton of research before I bought this car. Now, if we flash back to the F30, I really didn't do that much research before I bought that car. At that position in my life, oh man, how long ago was that? That was like 7 years ago or something. At that position in my life, I was really just looking to get into a car that was a bit more luxurious and nicer than the car that I currently had, which was a Honda Civic. It was like a 2012 Honda Civic SI. So I was really just looking for like the next step up in a comfortable car. And that was really why I just jumped into a 328, base model F30 to kind of get acquainted with the BMW brand. And I loved it, man. It was a fantastic car and it was super reliable. I took good care of it. I didn't drive the heck out of it. I knew exactly what I had. I didn't have an M3, I had a 3 Series. So I treated it like a 3 Series. Put some modifications on it, but I did all of the maintenance and I kind of babied it a little bit just because I knew that that car really wasn't built to be driven like an M car. That is one thing about these M2s, M3s that I've experienced is they like to be driven like M cars, man. These cars live to be driven hard. Like my E90 M3, for example, when that car sat for a few days, you could tell that it really didn't like that. Like that car loved to be driven. And after I'd been driving it consistently for a few days and kind of getting on it pretty hard, the car seemed to drive a lot better, just overall. So these M cars, man, they like to be driven. They like to be driven hard. And that's That's why they were built like that. That's why they were engineered like that, and you can really tell. Something that I've learned from having a few BMWs, one being the F30 that was like, you know, a base model 3 Series, and having a couple of M's, when you buy into an M, the entire experience is different. It's not like modifying a 3 Series. I just feel like when you're modifying a base 3 Series, it never gets to the level of an actual M car, because you're getting so much through the body and the chassis and the wide profile in an M car out of the gate that it's really, really hard to get a F30 or like a base model 3 Series up to that standard of an M car. So if you are actually looking for kind of like the M properties out of a base 3 Series, honestly, I would save your money and try and get into an M car. The M4 specifically right now has dropped in price a ton, and it's affordable. I think I was looking at some that were right around $28,000 or $30,000. They had higher mileage, but you can still get into an M car at that price. So if you're looking for a lot of car, I wouldn't go the route of buying an F30 and just slapping a bunch of modifications on it and expecting it to kind of drive and have the experience of an M car. I would actually save your money and buy into an M car, because the platform that you're starting out with from the gate is incredible. I want to be clear, you guys, I am not shitting at all on an F30 or a 4 Series. That's what I came from. That's how I built this channel. I'm never going to shit on those cars because they have their place and they're so much fun, and you can get into them for really, really cheap. But I do see a lot of people that build up these cars, sink a ton of money into them, me included, and they don't really realize how much more you're getting when you get into an M car. At the same time, I do understand that, you know, a lot of people can't afford an M car, but nowadays these prices are dropping a ton. So I know that I'm kind of like running on a little bit of a tangent here, but I really do believe that, you know, if you can afford it and if you can save your money, just get into an M platform, because you're going to be so much more happy with that decision in the long run versus trying to slap modifications on a base model and expect it to turn out and handle and experience like an M car. I think any M owner who has experienced a few M cars will agree with me on that. And like I said before, you guys, I'm not shitting at all on the base model series. Like, we all have to start somewhere. I came from Acuras and Hondas, very, very cheap Hondas. Like, I never had a lot of money to spend on cars. I was super broke in my early years, and it's, you know, I'm 35 now, so I can afford an M car at 35. There are a lot of F30s nowadays that are super cheap. I mean, you could probably get into a 328 for like $10,000, to be honest with you. If you wanted to get into a 328, probably even below that. I've seen, I mean, Brian at Keys Motorsports just bought a 328 for like $1,800. Granted, I'm pretty sure the motor was blown, but you get the point. You can get into those F30s for very, very cheap. But just so you guys know, if you're buying into a car that's very, very cheap, you're probably gonna be paying a lot more for maintenance, because higher mileage BMWs, things tend to go wrong. You're gonna have to start shelling out the cash to maintain that car. So just because the price tag on the car is cheap, doesn't mean it's gonna be cheap to own that car. You might be paying a lot more in maintenance. But in my experience, from the 3 cars that I've had, I really haven't had to spend too much in maintenance. A lot of it has been preventative, like things haven't gone wrong and then I've had to be reactive with maintenance. It's mostly been things that I've learned on the forums, like the rod bearings, and I'm like, I just want to nip this in the butt now and take care of it so nothing happens and I can just enjoy the car. That's what I mean by preventative maintenance. You want to go ahead and take care of the things that are problematic and that you know could fail down the line. The next thing that I want to talk about is the community. So the BMW community, which is massive. Let me tell you right now, before I got into doing YouTube, like BMW YouTube videos, I had no idea, like I didn't really know that many people in the BMW community. I know so many people in the BMW community right now. It's mind-blowing how many people that I've met in the past 2 years. And it's really wild how fast your life can change and how many people can be brought into your life just from a passion or a hobby. But the community is fantastic, man. If you go on the forums, there are so many people there to help you. When I go out to car shows, there's just a wealth of knowledge that people are just down for these cars. They're really, really passionate about their BMWs. And that's really what I align with when it comes to making these videos and just driving these cars and modifying them. Even if I'm out driving and I see someone in like a stock BMW, like 80%, 90% of the time, the guy looks over and he's like, you know, like it's just that unwritten law that if you have a BMW, you're like part of that community and you're just like part of that movement with BMWs. I know that sounds kind of extreme, but it's true. People are really just buying into this brand that they love. And I'll fully admit, like, I'm one of them. I just love BMWs. I love the styling, I love the branding, I love the community. Everything about the BMW world to me is just really something that I love and I'm passionate about. So it's brought a lot for me personally to my life, just meeting other enthusiasts, going to car shows, working with other companies that sell BMW parts, talking to other people like photographers, and I've met so many good people just through the BMW community. Now, of course, there are gonna be some bad eggs. That's just everything in life. You're gonna run into some people that are just negative. Unfortunately, that's just part of it. You can't really get away from negative people. They are just a part of this earth and we have to walk amongst them. It's all about how you handle it, and really you just want to ignore that negativity. But in general, you guys, the BMW community is just awesome. And that's really something that I've learned over the past years owning a few BMWs is just, there are so many people there to help you and so many people that are just, they're down for it. They love their BMWs just as much as you do, and they will talk to you for hours about your cars. I talk to so many people in my DMs about BMWs I don't even own, just because I love the brand and I love the cars and I love talking cars with people. Especially right now in a time where we're kind of like socially distanced from everyone. You can really tell, man, like people are depressed because they're not able to go to the car shows and hang out with other enthusiasts. And so we're all just like talking in our DMs to each other like, yo, what parts are you getting this week? There's just something so exciting about like working on your car and just sharing what you learn about your cars with other people. And it's really something that I'm just so passionate and I love about this BMW community, is that everyone's just down for it. And we're all here to just share information and get excited about each other's cars and watch builds progress. And so the community is really just something that I've learned to love over the past few years. The BMW community is just awesome. The next thing that I want to talk about are the amount of companies that make parts and modifications for BMWs in general. There are a ton of them, and that has been a big thing when it comes to, you know, making these videos and just trying to create content for BMWs. Is I have so many options of people that I can work with and companies and modifications I can do and things to set my car apart from other people's cars. There's just a lot of options when it comes to BMW parts, and, you know, going the OEM route, the OEM Plus route, the full send route, just craziness. There's so many different options when it comes to what you want to do with your cars. You know, do you want a show build? Do you want a track build? Do you want like a street drag build? Like anything you want, you can do it with these cars. I don't think we'll ever run out of the modification opportunities on BMWs. There's always people making new parts and always competitors trying to make better parts, which is good. It's good for the industry and it's good for people like us, you and I, that want to buy new things and put on new parts and try new things with these cars. The next thing that I want to talk about with you guys that I've learned over the past few years with BMWs is just more of advice. When it comes to your build and the car that you're building and what you're doing, don't shit on other people's builds, regardless of the build. Like, we all joke around and we have fun, and that's fine, right? Don't be the person that is deliberately shitting on someone else's build, because you never know that person's situation. Like, maybe they don't have the money to get into a certain car and build it a certain way, or just because you don't like it doesn't mean that that's really what they love. And really what happens when people put down other people's builds is you're just dividing the community. And that's really not what we need as a BMW community and BMW hobbyists and people who are enthusiasts with these cars. The last thing we need is divisiveness. Like, I don't love every single build out there, but it's certainly not my place to say that. It's certainly not my place to say that someone's car looks bad. I mean, that's just stupid. You have no idea what position in life that person is in. You have no idea what their intentions are with that car. Like, it could be like a base model E30.
Oh, dude, it's just a little 318 base model E30, that thing is trash.
And then you turn around in a week and it's got an LS1. You never know what someone's mindset is when it comes to a build. So like, the last thing that you should be doing is trashing someone else's car build. Really, all you're doing, like I said before, is dividing the community. It makes you look super negative, and people aren't gonna wanna be around other people that are miserable like that. I've often found that miserable, negative people are not very successful. And that's probably because they live in a world of just negativity. It's hard to bring good and positive things into your life when you live like that, especially when you're surrounding yourself with people like that. And misery loves company, dude. Negative people love to be surrounded by negative people that just complain. Don't be one of those people. So it's all in good fun, you guys. Like, we can sit there and joke with other people's builds, like our friends or whatever, but you don't have to be an asshat. You don't have to be the guy that goes out there and says like, oh, your car is crap, like it's not worth that, or you're only modifying this and that's not an M3, that car is trash. You don't have to be that guy, you know what I mean? So try and keep it classy, man, because this is something that I've learned over the past few years. Is just like, I see some of the people out there that trash other people's builds, and really like no one wants to be around them. And they kind of end up secluding themselves, and a lot of times they don't really go anywhere when it comes to the actual BMW community. The people who are doing things for the BMW community and who are actually seriously involved are generally positive people that are accepting of all builds. It doesn't matter what you do to your car, it's your build. And here's a perfect example, you guys. When I first started this channel, I had an F30 328i. Now you can imagine the amount of shit that I got for modifying a 328i, trying to make it look like an M3, which was not the case. I wasn't trying to do that. But the point is, I started with a 328i. I had 0 subscribers on this channel. I really just was passionate about it, and I poured that passion and love into my videos and my content in the car, and that ended up turning into buying an M3. You guys can probably see where I'm going with this. And that ended up turning into getting an M2. So I never thought that I would own an M3 or an M2 when I first started the channel. I honestly just thought I was gonna make some videos on my 328i. So think about that for a sec, you guys. You never know where a build is coming from or where it's going, and you never know what someone's idea is when it comes to their build. Just let them do their thing and don't be an asshole. We're supposed to be here in this community supporting one another and helping each other out when it comes to making decisions on their builds and what they wanna do to their cars. Don't be the guy that's just putting someone's build down, because you never know. Like, maybe they can't afford that. Like, maybe they're just getting started. Maybe they don't have that much knowledge when it comes to these builds. Like, dude, my car was pretty cringy when I first started modifying it. I did some dumb things to that car. But over time, I learned a little bit more. I gained a little bit more knowledge. And I think in the end, it turned out pretty good. Anyways, guys, those are just a few things that I've learned over the past few years owning 3 BMWs and kind of being involved in the community. And take this advice for what it is, you guys. Drop a comment down below. Tell me what you have learned about being involved in the BMW community over the past however long you've had your BMW or a few BMWs. And if there's anything that I missed, go ahead and drop it down below. But those are a couple of the things that I personally have learned over the past few years. Anyways, guys, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy. But we're gonna wrap this one up. Please do comment down below, like this video, hit that bell notification, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.